right, everybody. WrestleMania 41 has come and gone. We have officially closed off the Showcase of the Immortals for 2025. WrestleMania 41 is in the books, and we look ahead to this next year, building up to New Orleans. Jose Gonzalez here at bodyslam.net, and I am thrilled to be joined by, the cat's been out of the bag in one way, shape, or form. My co-host starting this coming Wednesday for some post-AEW Dynamite coverage. You might also know him from being on Raw Dogs every Monday night. You might know him from a little show called Between Two Beards with Love Wrestling CA. You might know him from being a part of the Hive Media that's getting ready to come up with some crazy stuff very soon. JPJ, how the hell are you, friend?
I am good. I am good. I am happy to be here. I'm happy to talk about this show. I'm excited to talk about this show. But yeah, I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to start this thing. We've had it in the works for a little bit, the Dynamite thing. And so I'm happy that we're going to get that going this week. I'm excited about doing that. So I'm feeling good, man. Overall, I thought, there was some very, very good, and then there was some for the weekend. But I thought it was a solid WrestleMania. I enjoyed myself.
Yeah, I mean, I think especially tonight, I found myself enjoying a lot more with WrestleMania. I felt like some stuff yesterday felt like it really was just like another part of Raw or SmackDown, whereas I feel like tonight, just the fervor of everything going on in the stadium felt like it was more of a WrestleMania. So whether it's just like the way action kicked off or just knowing what was still to come, I think that's where we really got into the WrestleMania feeling, so to speak. But, I mean, overall, you kind of alluded to it. For night two, I know I finished with this last night. Night one, we kind of had like a star rating out of 5 for night one. I gave a good old 3.25. I think a 3 and a 3.5 was given out. For night two, what do you think is your 5-star rating?
I'd probably go like a 3.75 or a 4, like somewhere around. I'm somewhere in that window out of 5. I think I would feel comfortable giving it a 4 out of a 5. I'd feel comfortable there. The main event, and we'll get to it, but the main event kind of,
Yeah, I think this one's a solid 4. I feel like just the way that certain things happened, certain decisions that played out definitely led to it feeling like it was a big moment. Some good surprises, some expected surprises, some stuff that was not surprising, some stuff we wish there were surprises for. I mean, we have the whole gambit here, but I mean, I would be remiss if we didn't start out with what set the tone for the whole night, and probably I'm gonna go out on a limb. I saw someone else say this where it's like neck and neck with Brett and Owen as far as WrestleMania opens. I feel like this might be my favorite opening match we've gotten at a WrestleMania, at least in recent memory. Io Sky retains the Women's World Championship against Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley in a phenomenal triple threat match. I mean, if there's one thing that the women will do at WrestleMania, if they get a triple threat match for the title, they're going to show out. We've seen it over many, many, many years. I mean, I'm talking back to Jazz, Lita, and Victoria at WrestleMania 18. We had Jazz, Victoria, and Trish at 2019. Oh, wait, Jazz, Lita, and Trish at WrestleMania 18. Excuse me. Can you guys tell it's also another holiday tonight, but it has nothing to do with this. I mean, we talk about WrestleMania 32, Charlotte capturing what was the end of the Divas Championship and now the new Women's Championship with Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch. I mean, there's always been kind of a formula for the women's triple threat at a WrestleMania, and my God, did they deliver on it tonight.
This was amazing. This was incredible. One of, if not the best match of the weekend, I would say. I thought it was a perfect opening match. And I thought the entrances of Bianca and Rhea, and Io as well. I just thought, the vibe was high immediately in that crowd. That crowd was louder to start this show than I think they got all of last night. It felt like coming through my TV. You know what I mean? So, I thought it was the perfect match to set the tone, get the crowd ready, and then all three of these women delivered as we knew they would. They are all special, very special. But this was amazing. From start to finish, I was so in and invested in this match. And I had a great time. I had a great time with this. This was probably my favorite match of the weekend.
Yeah, no, I agree with this one too, because I mean, you also have layers of history here with the whole like rock, paper, scissors of who's beaten who over the past. I mean, you've had Bianca beat Io before, you have Io beat Rhea before, and Rhea's beaten Bianca before. So you have that layer there. Yeah, Bianca, who since being on the main roster was undefeated at WrestleMania, dating back from WrestleMania 37 when she main evented with Sasha Banks for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Conversely, you have Rhea Ripley, who in 2020 was the first and at this point only NXT champion to defend their championship at a WrestleMania in a losing effort to Charlotte Flair, the Rumble winner.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as she got called up in the main roster, 37 onwards, in World Championship matches, she was undefeated. The only blemish on her record, aside from Charlotte capturing the NXT Women's Championship, was the women's tag title match at WrestleMania 38. But aside from that, she beat Asuka, she beat Charlotte, she beat Becky Lynch last year. So you have some heavy hitters under your belt for both of these women. And then you have the X factor of Io Sky, who has not had a WrestleMania victory up to this point. Mm-hmm. On top of that, we also have really only built this story for the better part of maybe a month just because of the fallout from the Elimination Chamber and the shocking title change we saw there. And the whole build of this match kind of not so much discrediting Io Sky as a champion, but just looking past her for the sake of Rhea being insanely over to the point where fans are now turning on Bianca Belair because it's not Rhea, that they're rejecting it just based on the fact that it's not Rhea. No other real reason, in my opinion, but
there isn't another reason. Yeah. She hasn't done anything wrong at all. She's did her job, won the Elimination Chamber, and all of a sudden a third person was added to her title match at WrestleMania, and she was upset about it. I think that is a valid reason to be upset about, it's just,
yeah,
maybe there will be a reason in future, perhaps, of why we can boo Bianca Belair. But as of right now, I do not have a legitimate reason why people are.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, sadly.
Yeah.
I will say it was interesting the way they put the match together because it didn't feel like there were a lot of breathing room. It felt like as things were going, like maybe one person rolled out and then you had action still going. It didn't feel like there were a lot of rest holds, a lot of high impact stuff going on. We got to see Bianca kick out of the Riptide. We got to see that super close, like nail-biting KOD that Rhea Ripley broke up. We got to see Bianca do the hair whip again. And then Bianca hitting Rhea with a KOD and then getting hit with the moonsault by Io Sky and then covered for the victory there, where it's just, I'm so glad that Io got the win tonight. And it also turns out this is the first time an Asian woman has ever been victorious at WrestleMania ever.
Yeah.
And apparently the last time that an Asian superstar won at WrestleMania was a pre-show battle royal at WrestleMania 27, if I'm not mistaken, where Yoshitatsu won it.
Yoshitatsu. Wow.
Yeah,
wow. What a throwback. I'm very happy that Io won as well. When they made the title change and put it on her, I was like, okay, hopefully they didn't just, and then the way they were building it with her clearly being the third wheel, the afterthought in it, I was like, this is building to Io winning because the other two are clearly not even really paying attention to her. And I thought this was the proper way to go. It is a big moment. I wouldn't have wanted Io to go into back-to-back WrestleManias as champion and lose the title both times. I don't think that would have been a great thing. So her winning, and then the way they did it with her kind of sneaking in at the end with the moonsault and kind of taking it from Bianca. You got ready-made feuds with either one of these girls. If you want to go Io and Bianca for a while, cool. You got that, and Bianca has other stuff to worry about too, but I just thought this match was, it was a pretty much perfect match from start to finish.
Stellar.
Yeah.
And I will say the thing I'm most intrigued about now is with people coming back, I'm very curious to see how close we are to seeing Asuka cleared and how close we are to Kairi Sane being cleared.
Well, they did. Yeah. Sorry. I was going to say video surfaced of Kairi Sane, like in Gorilla, being very happy, obviously rooting for Io. So she's clearly around, which hopefully means a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, my big question is, are we going to see Damage Control try to really go back and become the belt collecting faction again like they once were, especially now because you can have someone like Dakota Kai go after the Women's Intercontinental title, especially because certain things are tied down to tag titles at the moment, which we will get into later. Or maybe you have the Kabuki Warriors go after the tag titles again and win them again. And you have all four of them walk out as champions, although it's very interesting now because they are baby faces. Or you finally call Damage Control kaput, and we start to see another program brewing between Asuka and Io, kind of harkening back to a little bit that we got that summer of 2024, or 2023, excuse me.
Yeah.
Especially got that stellar match between them on SmackDown. We saw tasted that with the triple threat with Charlotte. So a lot of possibilities coming out of the women's world title scene, which is kind of refreshing because it felt like we would have been stuck in a formula for a little bit. So I'm ready to see what happens once we break out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm very excited to see what kind of the next couple weeks and the next couple months have to offer. I think kind of separating these three and having them kind of, do different stuff with maybe different opponents, or maybe two branch off and the other one does something new. I think that'll be good. So I'm looking forward to see where they go.
I agree with that, especially because of the fact that Bianca is still technically part of SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we have to figure out where exactly she stands with the whole Jade Cargill Naomi thing. Whether she's going to pick a side, whether she's on nobody's side. Maybe she's on Jade's side, and we start to see that maybe the odds are even more stacked against Naomi, and she calls in some reinforcements.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe someone that knows a thing or two about some total nonstop action.
Hey, that'd be fun. That'd be fun.
If only there was a juggernaut or something that's
right.
Just recently crossed the line. But we talk about WrestleMania moments kind of coming and going. That leads us into our next match with the two men that held the World Heavyweight Championship last year at WrestleMania, if you think about it. We had Drew McIntyre getting his comeuppance against Damian Priest in a Sin City street fight, which was also pretty good, all things considered. Drew McIntyre might have had a spot of the night, taking a selfie and having it blow up within seconds.
Immediately.
Within seconds of posting it on Twitter. It was
tremendous. And the callback from last year, because last year he didn't take a picture, but he just tweeted, "I'm bored at work." And then this year he goes a next level up and he does the tremendous stuff by Drew. I said, right before the match, I was just like, here comes the sleeper of the weekend. Here comes and I think I think these two guys were two guys that weren't thrilled about their spots on this show. Not necessarily who they were fighting, but they weren't thrilled about where they were on the show. Drew,
understandable.
100%. I think Drew was the best guy they had all throughout of last year. I thought he was their best performer. I bet they probably both believe they should have been in main events going, or at least title pictures, which is completely understandable. I think they both had something to prove. And I wouldn't have been shocked if there was a conversation or two between them going out there and going, okay, we're going to make sure that everybody has to follow us. And following the triple threat match, to have as good a match as they had, which obviously the street fight helps because you can get away with more stuff. But being able to follow that triple threat match, which was excellent, and also have another excellent match that I think was, for me, equally as entertaining, that's what you want. I thought both these guys killed it. And I thought Drew's, I could kind of tell that Drew maybe wasn't vibing with his entrance a little bit, but Damian Priest's entrance was badass.
Yeah,
that was a badass entrance.
Flame out is always badass.
Oh my God.
I'm just more annoyed that once again we do not have Broken Dreams. We got a glimpse of this Fire Burns last night. We still can't get Broken Dreams back. What the hell, Triple H?
I know.
But not even just that, but I feel like just the contrast that this match had against the triple threat match going before, it still had so many things to capture entertainment, like the table spots that we saw throughout the match. We got to see that insane Future Shock DDT onto the steel steps, and then the Claymore into the chair that was in the turnbuckle, ultimately being the demise for Damian Priest. I mean, this was a really fun, non-title, side match that people might not have really cared so much about until we had the whole, real glass incident with the windshield. But, I mean, all things considered, I'm glad that Drew got his win back this year. Io got her win back this year. Maybe a little bit of a recurring theme. Chances are, if he lost last year at Mania, he might get a win this year, so...
That's what it looked like a little bit. Yeah. But no, I fully agree with you. Obviously, I think Drew with the year that he had last year, getting a big win, it made sense. But yeah, I thought both these guys killed it. I mean, I think they proved why they were world champions last year, with doing their performance tonight. I thought it was very good. And I 2 matches in and I felt like this show was already better than last night's. 2 matches
I said the same exact thing. It was a night and day difference, it felt like.
Yeah.
And the hits kept on coming because in another round of the Follow That game, we had, just we say this title's the workhorse title. This match kind of proved it. A stellar fatal 4-way match for the Intercontinental Championship with Dominic Mysterio walking out with the title, defeating Finn Balor, Penta, and Braun Breaker, and what was probably one of the best moments of the night, I think.
I was going to say, for me, I think it was the moment of the night. Honestly,
Dominic Mysterio going from like the biggest heel in the company to the biggest babyface, and
like halfway through the match, like you could tell the crowd were like, it was about a third or to like halfway through the match, you could hear the crowd like as Dom would get his spots in, they were like, oh, and I was like, yeah, I'm like, they're gonna start. Dom's gonna be over, dude. He's gonna be over, and then yeah. It's great.
Pinning Finn Balor, no less, too, in the finish. I mean, we did see like Finn getting mega boos, like when he started to attack Dom after Dom was trying to set up the 619 and he countered it. But it feels like everybody's been privy to the whole like Judgment Day isn't okay thing, and like Finn saying they don't need to add anybody else. Dom trying to go out of his way to get more people in there. And ultimately being the only person from the Judgment Day to walk out of WrestleMania with a championship, that's worth saying something.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know we'll talk about that other match later, but I was going to say at the end of this night, Dominic Mysterio is the lone member of the Judgment Day that is a champion right now. Dominic Mysterio.
But also, I mean, we've seen Dominic prove himself so much over the last 2 years. Like, aside from being like, originally when he came in, like he had the cool program with Seth, and then he was just kind of like tagging with Ray. Little bit of a nepo baby, not gonna lie. Then the initial heel turn from Clash at the Castle all those years ago, joining Judgment Day, to when he just instantly, as soon as he grabbed a microphone, you couldn't hear anything else in the arena but the crowd booing.
Yep.
To now, like seeing him like be underestimated time and time again, but still putting in the work. He's gotten so much better in the ring. He's gotten so much better in promos. Like he went from being a heel that people were trying to have go away to just being like, no, it's fun booing him because his character is worthy of it. To now it's just like he finally gets the opportunity to show on his own. No Ray, no Judgment Day, actually getting a true victory on his own and getting that WrestleMania moment. I think it was very much deserved.
100%. And I didn't, we talked to a lot of people, Jose, about Mania. We've been on a lot of stuff. We've talked to a lot of people. And there are some people out there that, like, when you would float out the idea of Dominic becoming a babyface, they'd be like, no, like, that's not going to, come on, no. And I'd be like, look he went from we hate you, we don't want to see you heat, to we respect you. So we're still going to boo you, but we respect you heat. And that's how you know he's going to be a good babyface, because the crowd, it's not go away heat anymore. It's, hey, we're supposed to give you this heat. We're going to give you this heat because we like you. Like you said, like, and I think tonight proved he celebrated, left the ring. And I don't know if he was supposed to do this or not, left the ring. And then the crowd was still flipping out so much. He ran back down to the ring to do a second, I'm going on the corner and, lifting the belt, and the crowd was equally as loud the whole time for Dom. And it's like, dude, that make him a baby face now. Like, don't wait a couple weeks. Tomorrow, like, you officially do it tomorrow. It'll work. That whole crowd was eating it up. Yeah, man. This was, to me, obviously there was a bigger moment later on in the evening, but for me, this I thought was the best moment of the evening. This is when I thought the crowd was at its peak of like, like going crazy.
What we'll talk about after this, I'd say that was the peak of the crowd, but this is right next to it. I mean, also shout out to Carlito dying again from another spear from Braun Breaker. This time through the announce table, which, to everybody's surprise, these tables break. The nice, pretty, like, solid ones instead of like the ones that we've had for 20 years that still look like the old Raw logo. Nope, these ones that should be virtually indestructible are breaking even harder.
Yeah. Is there like wood in the middle of it? It looked like. Did they have like wood, like fake
screen,
wood?
Some wood, metal.
There was just stuff everywhere. And then they showed the angle, and I saw like the little wood like things in it. That's what broke and sprayed everywhere. I was like, what? I was like, how do they construct that? But I mean, those tables put in some work this weekend. They put in some work this weekend.
Yeah, so. Oddly enough, the English announce table more than the Spanish announce table. So
hey, look at you. Yeah, 100%.
But I mean, we also get into where the crowd was at its peak. Some unfortunate circumstances changing the card for WrestleMania. Obviously, Kevin Owens with a very serious neck injury is out. He's going to be getting surgery. He might be back in a year. We really don't know. But I will say, all things considered, this was not how I thought it was going to play out as far as an open challenge goes, but god damn did I love it. So Randy Orton had an open challenge. He cuts a little promo. He's in gear that kind of like looks like it's inspired from when he first debuted back in 2002, talking about how anybody that comes into the ring is going to find out firsthand at the letters RKO what happens when you answer the open challenge. And then we see the not the curtain, but like the Trons pull back. We see his silhouette, and then a certain song, a chart topper of sorts.
Yeah.
The TNA World Champion Joe Hendry shows up. He answers the open challenge. We have TNA represented officially on a WrestleMania for the first time ever, and ultimately gets defeated by Randy Orton. But damn it, I mean, anybody that was going to go out to answer the Randy Orton open challenge was going to lose to Randy Orton. And damn it, it was not about the actual match being like a 5-star classic. I don't think anybody was expecting that for an open challenge, but it's about who was going to get the pop for being the one to do it. And I'm so glad it was Joe Hendry.
I like you. I like this a lot. Let me tell you, this Randy Orton is without question my favorite Randy Orton. I love that he's just having the time of his life, man. Yep. And like you can tell he is, and I find myself enjoying this version of Randy Orton more than I've ever enjoyed any other version of Randy Orton. And I love this for Joe Hendry. This guy worked his ass off, got himself over, and worked his way to a WrestleMania match against Randy Orton. That is,
and I don't care how you feel. He's not even employed in.
Correct. Like, he was in the Royal Rumble. Like, this guy did this not on his own, but, he worked his ass off to get himself over. Yeah. And look at what is happening for this guy. Like, I feel tremendously happy for him. He deserved what he got. And I thought, it was a quick match. Randy basically beat the crap out of him for most of it, but he made Joe look good in a couple spots. He got to he got his stuff in.
It was a quick match.
And Randy put him over after, and then Randy did the spin with he put Joe over, even hitting the second RKO and being Randy. But Randy Orton put Joe Hendry, lifted his arm up and, come on, dude. Like, what more can you ask for?
I mean, at this point, Randy Orton giving someone an RKO is the same thing as Stone Cold giving somebody the stunner.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if they're babyface, it doesn't matter if they're heel. They're there for the vibes. Nothing's off the tables, and then whoever's in the vicinity is just going to go down, and it's fine.
Yeah.
But I will tell you what, seeing that crowd react the way it did was incredible.
Yeah.
But I think that might have been the loudest pop of the night.
You're probably right. Yeah. Once I saw that was next, I was like, oh yeah, the crowd was probably, yeah. But that crowd lost it. I mean, I was lost it. I was like, oh yeah, I was singing the song. It was a great moment.
Yeah. And Randy Orton walks away with the victory. I mean, everybody goes home happy. I mean, TNA, they have Rebellion to build to next weekend. Yep. So literally a week from today, they're going to be live on pay-per-view in Los Angeles with Joe Hendry defending the title in a triple threat against Frankie Kazarian and Ethan Page from NXT. So,
there you go.
Whether or not that'll contribute to some buys remains to be seen.
Maybe.
Low key, I wouldn't hate the idea of Randy just randomly winning the TNA World title and then defending it on WWE TV.
Imagine.
I mean, stranger things have happened. Kenny Omega was a fucking TNA champion not too long ago and had it all over AEW.
Yeah, but, that's true.
I will say, from the highest of highs in the crowd to the lowest of lows, we had Logan Paul going against AJ Styles and ending up victorious, which I don't think surprised anybody.
No.
The match went on kind of long. I mean, some of the spots were good, but I mean, this kind of just felt like we needed to get AJ Styles on a WrestleMania match. We needed to get Logan Paul on a WrestleMania match. So,
yeah. I mean, listen, I thought this match was too long. I'm not, it wasn't the best match. I didn't like it tremendously.
It was the second longest match of the night.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing that I like the most out of this match is it seems like they're going to be continuing with AJ Styles and Karrion Kross, and I'm all for that. So that was like the best thing to me that came out of this match is get Karrion Kross on TV more. Him and AJ I can vibe with. Cool. Like, let's do that. I knew Logan Paul was going to win the match. I think, like you said, we all kind of did. Other than that, like, it was fine. It was what I expected it. Logan Paul hit all his big moves that we're used to seeing him hit, and he was being the cocky jerk, and one of his side guys or whatever got involved at some point, because that happens all the time. Like, it was a typical Logan Paul match, high spots.
Yeah.
Him getting, but it was just way too long. It should have been shorter.
And then on top of that, too, at first, I'm not going to lie, I thought Karrion Kross was going to be a shoo-in to answer the open challenge, but finding out that he ended up having that spot with AJ, I think works a lot better, just because this is something we've been seeing brewing for weeks. Like, this is the best presentation Karrion Kross has had on WWE's main roster, period. Doesn't matter if it was the first run or the second run. This feels like a finalized version of what he was doing in NXT.
I agree.
And I think getting that entrance back, having Scarlett there the way that she is, I think having AOP nowhere near him anymore was the right thing. I don't think Karrion Kross is meant to be a stable person at all. I feel like the whole point is he's supposed to be like a lone wanderer aside from Scarlett, and then he's just going to be the sinister, like, evil foil, like almost like mystical in the sense of just like some of the stuff that he can do. But
yeah,
I mean, the match was what it was. I feel like they put it strategically where it did because they had some other bigger things to get to. But yeah, I mean, it was fine. Would I've rather seen the Women's United States Championship? Yeah. Would I've rather seen an actual match for the Women's Intercontinental Championship? Yeah.
Yeah.
Would I like to see that TLC match that we're getting Friday instead? You bet your ass.
How about that, huh? I know that's not Mania, but a three-way TLC
match for the WWE Tag Team Championship.
Wow.
Not on WrestleMania.
I know. Like, that wouldn't that make sense considering the most famous one is on a WrestleMania?
And this is the first one we've had on the main roster, I think, since the TLC PLE went away.
Yeah. What do
we do?
We've
had
Why
like the tables, ladders, and
on
scare
show?
stuff in NXT, but I mean, this, on the main roster,
dude. When they announced that, I was like, "What? A TLC match? What year is this? What year are we in?" I couldn't believe it.
The SmackDown tag division's that damn good.
It is.
I mean, you also could have added Pretty Deadly in there. You could have added Angel and Bertho in there if they weren't feuding with Rey Fenix. I mean, that is going to be a banger.
Oh my god, yeah.
That should have been a PLE match. And
I 100% agree. I 100% agree.
Yeah. But we do have some other tag titles to get to. We did see Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez at the Judgment Day coming out to defend the Women's Tag Team Championships against the Women's Intercontinental Champion Lyra Valkyria, who was in need of a tag team partner after Bayley got taken out yesterday before WrestleMania Saturday started. Which, finding out that this has been in the plans for a while, it's just really skeevy for a couple reasons, because this is the second time that Bayley has had a career-defining year on the main roster and then gets shafted at WrestleMania. And then on top of that, too, it's just also the weird fact that we had them literally run the gauntlet on SmackDown to get this opportunity.
Yeah, literally.
Days after they had a banger for the Women's Intercontinental Championship.
Yep.
So you pretty much buried every other tag team you have in the women's division to the point where you don't have real contenders, even though you've had teams that have been a team for years. You've had superstars that have been former women's tag team champions not getting a chance to be on TV, which is crazy to me. And then on top of that, you're also not utilizing either the mid-card championships to the fullest because they have not been defended on a PLE. And we're talking about since December, January. I mean, if we're going to have these matches happen on SmackDown and Raw, sometimes with the same challenger repeatedly, it feels like we got the titles before we needed them. Because we've had storylines for the world titles, and we've had storylines without the titles. Jade and Naomi being the perfect counterpoint. Yep. But alas, we find out that Lyra Valkyria does indeed have a tag team partner. Someone that we all know very well, a Grand Slam champion, the man Becky Lynch, comes back and wins the Women's Tag Team Championship at WrestleMania, defeating Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez with a manhandle slam, to now have her partner exit a WrestleMania as a double champion, much like she did at WrestleMania 35. JPJ, your thoughts on this whole thing with the women's tag titles?
Yeah, Bayley deserved better. I will say that first and foremost. Bayley is my favorite. Like, she's my favorite of the four horsewomen. She's my favorite overall. She just deserved better first and foremost. Once they made this move, I I think a lot of us knew it was going to be this moment with Becky. And I kind of went into it going, all right, well, I don't think Becky comes back and loses. I don't think that's going to happen. So I'm like, they're going to win the tag titles, which is okay. Again, it's the first ever WrestleMania where your two women's mid-card titles have existed. To me, it was pretty crucial to have them defended at WrestleMania. And I just think it was such a swing and a miss and a whiff for them not to do it. Like, don't get me wrong, Lyra Valkyria, and I've been saying this for a few weeks now, is quickly becoming one of my favorite in-ring wrestlers in the whole company. She is incredible.
Oh, agreed.
And that ring, and she's getting over
Yeah.
because of how incredible she's in the ring, because she really doesn't have that much of a character or anything like that. They don't give her really a lot of promos to talk, but she's getting, that whole crowd tonight was doing the woo. Like, she's getting over because she's so good. It's just, she's the IC champ. Focus on that. Why is she winning another title? Good for her, but why is she winning? Focus on the belt she already has, man.
And
like,
to
what are we
counter
doing?
that, on SmackDown, you have the antithesis with Chelsea Green.
Yeah.
Over is all hell for her character work.
Had Chelsea's
another
great
phenomenal
year.
wrestler. Don't get me wrong. When she gets a chance to wrestle, she can turn it out. But the crazy part is that you had these two women that have, despite the lackluster booking around them, have gotten themselves over.
Yep.
To now we're seeing just like, they want to make these titles mean something. We need WWE to make these titles mean something as well. Like, you can't just have this challenger here, this stipulation here. Oh, we're going to put one of them on the card, but it's not going to be for their title. They're going after another, which is kind of crazy to think that now we have two double champions in WWE, technically between the women's division, because you have Lyra, who's Intercontinental Champion and Tag Champion, and Sol Ruca, who's now the Women's Speed Champion and the NXT Women's North American Champion, which is kind of, I mean, I'd have two nickels, but it's odd that it happened twice.
Yeah, for real.
That seems to be the catchphrase. However, I would have said this might have been a little less obvious if it wasn't for the fact that Stand and Deliver was not quite literally hours before WrestleMania yesterday. Because if they were going to do the injured Bayley thing, there was a smidgen of a chance that you could have seen Tatum Paxley come out to help Lyra Valkyria. But instead, they're heading into NXT this week to defend those titles against Tatum Paxley and Gigi Dolan.
Yeah, Tuesday in Vegas. Should be another big show for NXT. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm trying to think, because my thing is, right, since we found out that this was like a plan for a while now, I'm hoping, does this lead? Because you saw when Bayley and Lyra had that banger on Raw, at first, Lyra wanted to handshake Bayley and Bayley slapped her hand away. But then Bayley had second thoughts and went in the ring, and then they hugged, and she, but she was still looking at the IC title and stuff like that. So I'm thinking, like, even though Bayley got attacked, does this lead to like maybe Bayley turning heel, and maybe I'm just trying to think of does this end up being?
Oh, I have a theory
that it's a Becky and Bayley IC title feud in the future.
Well, actually, here's my theory. So I think what's going to happen is the last time that Lyra was in NXT was she ended up coming back to help out Tatum. They get a tag win. The last time Becky was on NXT, she lost the NXT Women's Championship to Lyra.
Yes.
What I think is going to happen is we're going to see Becky Lynch walk out on Lyra Valkyria. We see Tatum Paxley and Gigi Dolan win the Women's Tag Team Championship. So the first time ever we have an NXT team win the championship. They're also going to take those titles probably to go into TNA Rebellion and go after the Knockouts tag titles, which is also unprecedented in itself. Plus, now we have what the hell happened to Bayley thing. And here's where it gets even more interesting. We either find out that it was Lyra that could have attacked Bayley herself and you make Lyra heel, or what I think is going to happen, Bayley stays face, Lyra stays face. We end up seeing a match between Becky and Lyra for the women's IC title. And we find out that Becky is a Paul Heyman girl.
That'd be fun.
For the first time ever on TV, we could have a Paul Heyman girl, align her with Seth Rollins, let her win the Intercontinental Championship, and then you could set up a triple threat feud with Bayley and Lyra to try to get the title back. Or even have her face other women in the division, like a Dakota Kai. Maybe if Asuka's healthy, have her face her. Maybe you have her face Natalya, if Natalya can have like the presentation she got.
Yes, she needs that character that she did. Yes, she needs that character.
We're past the point of Natalya. We want Natty Neidhart.
Yeah. Like, if you give me that character on WWE television, I will immediately care about Natalya again. Immediately.
Stone Cold Killer.
Yeah. That was incredible. Her whole the lead up, the social media stuff she was doing, and that whole thing was incredible with Natty. If you can portray that character on WWE, she will get over immediate because she has the history with us that we know how good she is. We respect her. You just don't give us a reason to care about anything she does. So if you change her and make her that character, she could be at the top of the division.
Well, here's the other thing, JPJ, is that next month she's going to be at NWA's Crockett Cup, and we saw after her match at Bloodsport that Kenzie Page, the NWA World Women's Champion, was trying to mix it up with Natty. Yeah. So there is a real chance that Natty Neidhart could win the NWA World Women's Championship and show up with it on WWE television.
I think she will.
And then whether or not you have her be a belt collector of sorts because she's bridging the gaps between all these promotions and now also sprinkling in Busted Open Radio on top of that too. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Still running the Dungeon 2.0, which can magically have anybody appear wherever they want, wherever they want. Shout out to Brody Lee Jr. debuting and winning the GCW clusterfuck last night.
I saw that. Good for him. Good for him. What a moment.
A student of the Dungeon 2.0. So I guess you start them early. They're going to be breeding some future superstars. I guarantee.
Yeah, but I liked it.
I mean, on the topic of generational stars, I mean, this does lead us to the main event of WrestleMania 41. I mean, this match was one that, I'll be honest, I was a little scared for this match just because of the fact that we had some wishy-washy stuff leading into it, but we got a few really good promo segments the last couple weeks, but we kind of knew going into this main event that if there's one thing WWE is going to do for a WrestleMania main event, largely for a Cody Rhodes match, is there's going to be a little bit of overbooking and there's going to be some shenanigans. And we definitely got that here. But nonetheless, pinch yourself. It is real. It happened. The historical 17th reign. John Cena defeated Cody Rhodes to win the undisputed WWE Championship in his final WrestleMania appearance as an active competitor. Now, JPJ, you being the Bostonian, the Massachusetts guy, I will let you take the reins on this one.
I think the decision was the right decision. I think Cena should have won the title. He should be the guy at the top of that list of that record, 1,000%. I was having a conversation with someone the other day, and I was like, listen, I'm taking who the person is out of it. But when I grew up as a wrestling fan, learning about the history of wrestling before I started watching stuff like that, Ric Flair was an old man when I was watching him wrestle for most of my life. He was an old man. I didn't watch the prime of him, but you heard, he has the most championships. He's that. John Cena should be that guy for the younger fans moving forward. That's who they should think. Oh, John Cena is the record holder. It's John Cena. That should be the guy that they hear about. Like I heard about Ric Flair for the first 10 years of my wrestling fan, so it's the right decision. I thought the match was, for me, I thought it was kind of not great. I don't want to say it was bad. I don't think it was bad, but I thought it wasn't that great. There were parts of it I liked, but I don't know. It didn't hit for me. And I think it was probably because I booked it in my head that we were going to see a lot more shenanigans than we actually did. We got the ref bump, which was good.
Yeah. But maybe just not more shenanigans, but different shenanigans.
I was going to say Travis Scott is the big run-in we're doing here. That's the one. Travis Scott. That's it. It wasn't like Travis Scott came out and then something else happened. It was just Travis Scott.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting a rehashing of last year where everybody and their mother came out, but I thought there might've been a foil for Travis Scott, and then you have Rock come out, and that's where it actually gets into the thick of it. But I mean, I feel like John Cena closing the show, walking out with the title, was the right decision. Match wise, I almost wish this opened the show and you had the women's triple threat close it, just based on match quality. Ultimately, the impact that the moment has and the history that's being made, it certainly warrants being the main event.
Of course,
I totally understand that.
Yeah.
I feel like for the way that the match was booked, there are parts of it that weren't bad. It was very interesting to see how they made the 5 moves of doom heel, spacing it out a little bit more.
Yeah.
We got to see John Cena do some different stuff, his dreaded double axe handle off the second rope.
Yeah.
We saw a tornado DDT. And then we saw Michael Cole dead named the STFU.
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
When he said that, I was like, STFU, but he hit 4 or 5 attitude adjustments.
Yeah, literally, not FUs. Come on. What are we doing? What are we doing?
It's literally the perfect time to rename it again.
Just do it all. Yeah. Obviously he turned heel at the Chamber, and we've been dealing with heel John Cena for a little bit, but this was the first match that he has worked heel in 15. You know what I mean? Like that.
I think literally since like 2003, 2004.
Yeah. So we're talking over 20 years. This is the first match that he was working heel as well. So it was new for us to see him in that light as well. You know what I mean? So, and you could tell he was very slow. He was going from corner to corner, hitting the double axe handles. He was at one point, he was kind of manhandling Cody, doing one move, kind of circling in the ring, he was very plodding early on. And then it never really got to like a full speed and again, I wasn't expecting a 5-star work rate match or anything like that, but it just never really hit that next level for me. I guess it just kind of stayed at that first level. And then the Travis Scott thing happened. And I'm not an anti-Travis Scott guy. Like, I know there are a lot of whatever. I'm not like, oh, what's he doing around? Like, I'm not anti that, but if that's the only thing you got, that can't be the only thing you got to me.
I mean, the thing that could have made the Travis Scott thing a little bit better, and I think I might be the only person that would say this, but we're going to go with this. I say you have him still look at Cody in the ring, but you have Brandy Rhodes hop the barricade, and you have her spear the fuck out of him.
Yeah, no, okay.
Like Brandy's whole lore was she has like a plate in her shoulder from when she had to get surgery on it. So like she had a bionic spear. She never actually got physical in WWE, only in like AEW and Ring of Honor. Then you have him still hit the crossroads and everything. And then maybe you have a moment where it looks like Brandy's in peril, but instead like Cena shrugs her off and then goes back to Cody. Like, at least that feels like a little bit more drama and conflama that makes sense if you're not
like
the Rock
Cody couldn't have had like one other like there wasn't one person that made sense in the story to come out and just take care of Travis Scott for Cody. Or like, I get it. Well, like Cena's going to win. So I get it. Like, all right. And one thing I will say, Travis Scott took the crossroads well. He took the crossroads very well. Yeah, it was a good bump by him there. Like, I'm not gonna sit here. Like I said, it was just, I just felt like that can't be it. That can't be all you got.
Mind, there's probably gonna be a tag match coming up, and
that wouldn't shock me.
What would be a fun surprise though is maybe instead of having a traditional tag partner with Cody to go against Cena and Travis Scott, you call in your other resident rapper turned wrestler, Bad Bunny.
That'd be fun.
If he's not touring the world or turning looks in Calvin Klein ads,
Yeah, that'd be fun. I would not be opposed to that. Now, I would not be opposed to that. It feels like Travis Scott, he's gotten physical both times that he's been around. Chamber, he got physical with the punch to Cody, and then he got physical stepping up to Cody and then taking the crossroads and doing all that. So it seems like a match probably would happen.
Yeah, I just hate that he didn't get a receipt tonight, but I feel like if there is actually going to be a match, that's where you get the receipt.
Yeah, and Cody pops him one for real, or gives him a stiff one or something like that. But it was just Cena winning, and I actually thought what they showed kind of right after with Cena doing that walk up the ramp, where the crowd who had been booing him, obviously the crowd was swaying with Cody in this match. They started to turn on Cody. The crowd, he was getting booed a good amount, but it's a one-off thing. Yes, it's a one-off thing. That's not. It was just because it was Cena and it's the last man. It's the Hogan on Rock situation. It's more that than people not digging Cody. You know what I mean? Like,
well, the problem is that if Cody won, there would have been even more boos. Just because
I agree.
Of the fact that what's the whole point of this last Cena run if he's not going to get number 17?
Yeah,
you have him turn heel after 20 years, and you still don't give him the big one.
Yeah, that's why I couldn't sway and pick. I picked Cena the whole way. I'm like, you don't do that heel turn if he's losing this match. That makes no sense to me. It's sense.
The opposite of One Night Stand 06, where if Cena loses, we riot.
Yeah. I would that would have made no sense to me if Cody would have won tonight. You don't do that heel turn if Cena's not winning this match. Like, that is not, and again, that walk up the ramp where the crowd was cheering for him because they knew it was his last WrestleMania, even though he's a bad guy. And the crowd was like, that was like a respectful, like, thank you for 20, thanks.
Like as the show went off the air and they were getting ready for the post show, like having like the break the fourth wall moment where you actually see him smiling and everything.
Yeah, he's smiling, and then he kind of like did the thing at the top where he kind of looked the side eye and he kind of did a nod, and the doors open, and they just showed him walking off, and it was like, that's it, man. Like that's the last WrestleMania visual of arguably the greatest of all time. I'm like, so I thought that part of it was actually better than anything that happened in the match, to be honest with you. And
and it was organic too, because I feel like this whole run, it's not going to end with him as a heel. He's going to turn babyface some way to perform. So
the crowd is already going to cheer. There's a certain section of the crowd that's going to cheer for him this whole way with him being a heel. We know that. By the end of this year, as we know it's getting closer, if you are still presenting him as a heel, the whole crowd is going to be like, no, man, like we have 2 months left. Like we want to cheer this guy. Like we want to cheer him.
And not even just that. I mean, WWE's had this problem for the longest time when it comes to booking heels, because eventually you make the heels cool, people are going to cheer. Because think about it. It happened with Kevin Owens. It happened with Sami Zayn. It happened with the Judgment Day. I mean, we saw it tonight with Dominic Mysterio. It's just like, if you make the heels too cool, you're going to have the crowd turn on the baby faces. James over on the Facebook, 17-time champion, supposed to be record, 16 times holding a title and losing it, the longest holding. I mean, I totally understand, like, the reigns seem like it's not as big of an accomplishment as how long you hold it, but, I mean, wrestling is also subject to the circumstances you're in, because sometimes the business calls for different things. Sometimes having a championship change hands back and forth a little bit more frequently shows that anything can happen on a show, and it's unpredictable. So, I mean, that's always going to be a touchy subject, whether or not you have a title change hands when it does versus when it doesn't, but alas, the number is here. It is.
Let's see. Look at
books. So
yeah.
Whether you're a Ric Flair fan, whether you're a Cena fan, whether you're just you like numbers, maybe 17 is a good number for you. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think Cena, and like I said at the top when we were talking about the match to start, like I think Cena is the guy that should be at the top of that record, dude. He held down the fort longer than anybody has ever held down the fort, and he was, whether you like, and they trust me, I was the Cena sucks guy. That's who I was. That was the side I was on. Even though he is from where I am, and I was that guy for a long time. But like, yeah, dude, I don't think he's not my greatest of all time, but I'm not going to argue with anybody who he is, because I think it's as fair an argument as there is. I think him being at the top of that record and being known for that until most likely Charlotte beats it in a couple of years, or something like that. But
which is going to be interesting to see if that does happen, if they try to say that Charlotte has the record overall, or if they're just going to degrade it to being, well, the women's record, and then the men's record is still seen. I don't know.
I don't know what to do. It seems to me with this regime, I think they would count Charlotte as the all-time. I think they would propose it that way. They'd make Charlotte as has the most heavyweight championships of all time, kind of thing.
I mean, it would be.
And again, that's another way to get the name Flair back at the top of the list, to respect the name Flair. So I feel like that's kind of a way you could do it, because obviously we know Triple H has an affinity for Rick, but a lot of other people don't. So it's one of those things where I think that's a way to get the respect back on the name Flair, and Charlotte can add that to her character. Oh, my dad lost the record, but guess what? Another Flair came and just took it back, or like that fits her character perfectly. Whenever you get there, so.
Or even have it be what it wasn't even about tying her dad's record; it's about taking for herself because she's that much better.
Yeah.
Which,
but I think that's eventually it's going to be her. I believe it's going to be her. But
only time will tell, but that will conclude everything that we have here for WrestleMania 41. Crazy to be on the other side of it, because it feels like we've been slowly building up to this for the whole year. But thank you guys for joining us wherever you've been tuning in, whether it's on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, X, whatever platform. I appreciate it. JPJ, thank you for joining me tonight.
Absolutely.
What do you have going on that we could plug?
Yeah. So tomorrow night, after Raw, I will be right back here on these airwaves with the Raw Dogs post show. It is the post-Mania Raw, so hopefully we will be seeing a lot more big things tomorrow night. So I'll be here. Wednesday, as we said, we will be, you and I together for the first time, debuting our AEW Dynamite post show right here on these airwaves. And then Thursday over on Love Wrestling, I have Firmly in the morning with our pal Drew Nicholas. That is at 9 a.m. Eastern time in the morning. And then at 8 p.m. Eastern time, the flagship ship over there at Love Wrestling. Me and my main squeeze Pluggo between two beards. We do that at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So that's what I got going on for some wrestling content this week. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, wrestling-wise, I mean, you'll definitely find me here Wednesday after Dynamite alongside JPJ on the show that has no name yet. We're really cutting it close here. If you guys have suggestions for a catchy AW Dynamite post show, tweet us. I don't know. Why not?
But, we have a couple names I think we kind of like.
Yeah,
we're bouncing around.
We're tossing some stuff back and forth. It's only a matter of time. I mean, aside from the wrestling stuff, maybe tomorrow you have Netflix pulled up in one tab, or around 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, you pull up youtube.com/ourlocal-establishment. Myself and Auntie Collins are going to be doing our final episode of the Mother Tuckin' Post Show, where we talk RuPaul's Drag Race Season 17. We crowned a winner. It was an interesting finale, so maybe you want to break from wrestling chaos everywhere. You could join me there. And also just Jose in the Air everywhere else. I mean, I have other stuff going on my own channel. I stream on Twitch. JPJ streams on Twitch. You will find us somewhere online. But until then, we will see you guys. We will see you here in Body Slam. JPJ tomorrow, and then the two of us together.
The two of us.
Coming Wednesday night.
Very excited for that. Very excited for that.
Until then, take care, everybody.